In our Honoring Black History series this morning, a valuable resource has been sharing Savannah's African-American experience for nearly 150 years.
A pioneering paper that has played a critical role in journalism since its inception in the late 19th century. This morning, we share the story of the Savannah Tribune. In the early days, newspapers were the backbone of the black community, providing essential information to freed slaves in search of a better life, highlighting both the struggles and successes often left out of mainstream media. Locally, the Savannah Tribune has provided a voice for more than 145 years. Originally called the Colored Tribune, the publication was established shortly after the Civil War, when the black press emerged in the South.
Go back to the Savannah Tribune, it was founded and established in 1875. Now think about that. That's right after emancipation, during the period of Reconstruction. And John DeVoe and William Pleasant and Louis B. Toomer Sr. Were businessmen. And they established the Savannah Tribune.
Its purpose, as printed in its first issue, to defend the rights of colored people and their elevation to the highest plane of citizenship.
When you think about that period of time, it was difficult, but they were the ones that had the messages out in the black community, and they kept everyone in that community apprised of what was going on.
With the end of Reconstruction in 1871, many black publications folded, but the Tribune survived until 1878.
And there was a period in time, probably around it was about almost a 10-year period, that the Tribune ceased to be published simply because the white publishers in the area refused to print the paper.
It reopened in 1886. In the early 1900s, under the guidance of Saul C. Johnson, the Tribune served as South Georgia and North Florida's only means for news about the injustices of the Jim Crow era. Prominent Harlem Renaissance writer James Weldon Johnson even served as a correspondent for the paper in the 1920s, during his time as executive secretary of the NAACP. In 1954, Willa Ayers Johnson succeeded Saul C. Johnson to become the first female owner. And in 1960, the paper again temporarily closed its doors. But after a 13-year hiatus, banker Robert James reestablished the Tribune, serving as owner and publisher until his wife Shirley, a counselor by profession, took the reins in 1983.
As publisher, I still had, my professional position at Savannah State University, which really took the majority of my time between doing that and being a working mom. So we've always had just very good staff members at the Savannah Tribune who really, they are the ones that I have to give credit to, making sure that we never missed a publication date. Never. 1973, even during the period of time when we had the fire in 2006, which was devastating.
Today, as many newspapers struggle to stay afloat, the Tribune has pressed on, persistent in its role to provide a platform for people of color, because representation matters.
African American newspapers throughout the country have always been the ones that would bring truth to the matter as far as the African American community was concerned, and is still concerned.
In addition to being the owner and publisher of the Savannah Tribune, Shirley James is also the chair of the Savannah Black Heritage Festival. Mrs. James is quite the history maker herself. You can see more of her story and others that highlight the history of African Americans on our website at wsav.com/blackhistory.